Or this time, imagine that. Hi.
How are you? Can you hear me? Nope. Can't hear me.
Let's see here. No audio, huh? Okay. Let's see.
Makes it so much more fun.
Can you hear? Let's see here. How about now? Can you hear me now? You can hear me. I can hear you. I thought I heard you earlier when I hopped on first. Can you say something?
Yeah, I can talk for a really long time. But judging by your face, I would guess.
I can hear you, but it's like really choppy.
Huh. Well, let's see. Is that any better? No?
I just see it's like I can hear your voice, but it's like very choppy. Like I can't understand what you're saying.
Huh. Okay. Reconnect.
I can see you, but it's frozen. Like your picture's frozen. I'm looking at my Wi-Fi. It looks like I have all my bars open right now or up. Let's see. You're chatting right now. Reconnect. Yeah, let's try that.
Okay.
You have lots of bars too? Okay. That's weird. All right, folks, we're trying to get this thing going on live right now. Having technical difficulties.
Is that better?
Oh, that's way better. I don't know what happened.
Wow, that's interesting.
It is, yeah.
Well, here we are.
Yes, absolutely. So let me make sure I hit the record button this time. And okay, cool. We're live. So I think somebody's watching live. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I got to tell you a story of people who are watching live or on the replay. Me and Janet had this amazing interview, and we talked about some awesome stuff. She has a book. We talked about trends. When she got started back when websites were just coming around, like where you could build it. And it was like one of the best interviews I ever done. And like literally at the last minute of it, it was like a 20-minute interview. I noticed I didn't hit the record button. And I was so beating myself up when I emailed Janet and I was like, I'm sorry, I forgot to hit the record button. And she was like, gave me the unhappy face, but she was willing to do this again. So thank you so much, Janet, for taking the time to talk about this, because I thought we had a really good dialogue last time.
You know what? I'll tell you, I did it with Mark Schaefer on my podcast. Where we did the whole podcast, and it was an hour. And
oh my goodness.
He was gracious too, so I'm just passing it forward, man.
Thank you. I need that. So now I was embarrassed. I was so mad at myself. I was in a bad mood. I was like, dang. And then when you said that you're willing to do it again, I'm like, yes. And it's so funny, Janet, my friend who does interviews too with entrepreneurs, he did an interview in the middle of Times Square in New York. And he was doing like a live interview. And he had this amazing interview with this lady, and he noticed he forgot to hit on his external mic. And so when I posted, I forgot to record our interview. He replied back as a tweet, like, "I just did that tonight." I'm like, now you know how it feels. I feel better already.
It's all good. It's all good.
So for the folks who are watching live or on the replay, this is Janet Fouts. I've been following her for several years now. You can check her out. Let me get her website here. She's been doing this digital marketing media company for a long time now. When did you get started in this? She owns a company called Tattoo Digital Media.
I do. And I built my first website in 1993 when I was working with the University of Oregon. And then in 1996, we founded an online community for the restaurant industry called On the Rail. And after On the Rail got started, we got a little venture funding, and eventually it evolved into a web development company, and now it is a social media management company. And that's all we do is social media management.
Oh, okay. So you guys just do all just social media management. Got it.
Yep.
So back in 1993. So I want to get into your, we talked about this last time. That's why I thought it was such a great interview last time. I screwed it up. But I want to talk about your superhero origin story that you kind of went over it really quickly. But can you talk about how you were able to build your first website back in those times when the technology was probably the hardest to actually understand for regular people like us to build? I mean, you literally built a website in like the late mid 90s. Can you talk a little bit about that, like your very first experience?
Yeah, well, the first one in 93, really, we didn't have a lot of ability. And of course, nobody had any bandwidth. So you couldn't put big images on. Things like being able to tell the image size was really cool. It was like, wow, look, we can say what size our images are. So, it really went way back. And then when we started on the rail, we wanted to have online community, but we didn't want to have IRC and just forums, although we did have some forums. So we started blogging kind of before anybody else was. We would take a guest book script and we would write a story, and then we would let people comment in the script, in the guest book. And that's how we built out all of these kind of blog-like stories. And it was really cool because people got really excited about it. They didn't have that ability up until then. So it was really fun. And it was all about working behind the lines in the restaurant industry, not just about food, but really about what it was like to be a restaurant worker in the 90s.
Wow, that's amazing. So you guys have to, you have to be a genius to do that back in those times. I mean, today, guys, we're so spoiled. You got places like, Squarespace and ClickFunnels and all these easy to use softwares that back in those times when Janet did it, I mean, it really took a lot of like skills, knowledge, and like really just knowing your stuff to build websites. So back in those times, like anybody that built a website back then are like a superhero to me. I'm like, wow, this person knows what he's talking about. So
that was fun.
Yeah. So you just do social media management currently right now. You don't do any building of websites now, correct?
We quit building websites in, about 2005, 2007. We maintained several of our clients' websites for some years. We still have a couple that we maintain, but it really isn't my focus anymore. I don't want to code anymore. I'm much more interested in community and how people talk to each other. And, in the beginning, that's what the web was a community for a bunch of scientists and educators to get together and talk. And that's where social media is now. It's just reaching a lot more people. And it's a lot easier for us to be able to do it.
Got it. So what was it that tipped you over? Because you were an executive chef for this restaurant, but all of a sudden you just turned straight like technology and marketing and digital. What was it was it the actual doing of the website that made you excited about it, that made you switch over? Like, what was that tipping point?
Well, it was a late night conversation. I was actually a sous chef at Square One in San Francisco, and I was doing banquets. And my cohort on the banquet side was an amazing, amazing artist. And we got to talking about online community. And, in the restaurant industry, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're totally wired. Yeah. You've been working all night, and you need something to do. And so we started this idea of the online community as a place for people to gather and talk about their days and what they were going through and, kind of talk about behind the lines stories. And so we started doing that. And because I had coding, it was easy for me to get it started. And then when we took it to a VC and we got funding, everything kind of went crazy.
Wow.
And, the next thing we know, we're running this company, which was pretty cool.
That's amazing. So that must have been, it's like an injection of just resources right there. Can you talk a little bit how that translates? Like I see VC like stuff like that from a distance. I'm not in it, but I see the patterns of it when people get it. And this is an interesting rabbit hole I want to get into because I have a couple of friends in the WeWork building who are part of a startup that are funded by VC money. And I look at their P&Ls, and they've been working in this company for like 8 to 12 months. I'm not going to mention their names here, but they literally have not made a profit for like the past 8 months. And
a lot of startups don't make any money.
Yeah, I know, but it's just interesting. Like for me, as a small business owner, like a solopreneur, I look at that and I'm like, wow, that I would not survive. I'm like, I need to make ends meet every single month. I need to make money every single month. And for me, it's like, I guess I'm so practical, so old school, and so in the trenches. Like, I got to like make money this week to feed my family. When I see stuff like that, I'm like, that's interesting how impractical it is. Like, and let me get your thoughts on this, because I'm going on a rant now. I feel like they really live on this like fantasy world where they could just live off VC money and not have that sense of urgency to execute on their plan. And it's not their money, so they don't feel the sting, so they don't have no risk, you know? What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts on that, because I was deep in the trenches, and I've worked with a lot of startups as a consultant around social media marketing, and now about mindfulness and wellness. So, you know, I work with a lot of startups, and I see it. And you know, in the 90s, that was the days when it was like, if you didn't have your food delivered and you didn't have a ping pong table in the main waiting room, you were nobody. And, you know, people were, I can't remember what it was, purple tie. They would come and pick up your dry cleaning, you know. And here's the thing. The job of the VC is to enable the people who are brilliant enough to come up with the idea, and I'm not really including myself in that, but software developers who have amazing ideas, and they're too busy trying to pay for bread to make their ideas happen. And what VCs do is give them a way to go, okay, I don't have to worry about earning bread. I don't have to worry about rent. I can really focus on this amazing idea and make it happen. For some people that works. For other people, they fall on their face. And to be fair, we went through 2 rounds of funding and then we failed. And we bailed on, you know, the support of the VC, and we said, okay, you know, we're going to walk away. We're going to do this ourselves because we can't take your money anymore. VCs have a lot of really tough jobs, because they have to be able to look at a company and go, okay, I think if we give them a little money and take some of that pressure off, they'll be able to make it. And at some point they go, yeah, you're not making it, dude. It's time for you to quit. And those are all very hard decisions, both for the VC and the people running the company. And, you know, I have a lot of respect for both sides of that equation. You know, we learned a tremendous amount from what we did. We learned a tremendous amount about working with VCs, which I personally would never do again, but mostly because I'm kind of a lone wolf and I don't really want to be told what I need to do.
You do both, Janet. I heard that.
So, you know, I work for myself. I have a life that I love, and I'm not really beholden to anybody but my family, and I'm good with that. So, you know, it's a tough decision. But chasing the money and saying, oh, we're going to get some VC money, everything's going to be golden, ain't going to happen. You really have to have something that, you know, is going to make it worth it. That's my rant. That's
an interesting perspective. So I get it. Like, that's their responsibility and stuff. But I mean, when I think about it, like, how long, let me ask you this, because you've been doing this longer than I've been doing for sure, back in those times. I mean, how long is the concept of having VC funding a business has been around, like the actual practice? Like before that stuff actually happened, we actually had to produce results on a monthly basis.
Yeah, yes and no. I think there's always been VCs of people who are willing to invest in your idea that they knew they couldn't implement. They were willing to give you money and take half your company in order to get that and make it happen.
Got it. Now, what do you think is going to, let me ask you this in the future then. So what do you think is going to happen when VC money gets pulled out of this like equation when the market like crashes? What's your thoughts on that? Like, because I feel like the people who know how to swim, like when in the trenches, are going to actually survive. But like with these people who live this fantasy world, when that happens and they don't have no more VC money, they really don't have the salesmanship or entrepreneur skill sets to actually make it happen in those times. To like go out there, kill the animal, drag it home, and cook it, you know?
You got to skin it first. You don't know how to skin it, you're not going to get to eat. Well, you know, I think there are idea people who have really great ideas, and there are implementation people. And, you know, there are those people that you go, wow, they're really smart, but I don't know how they cross the street by themselves. Those are the people that have to rely on VCs because they can't do it. And the VCs will bring in somebody else to manage the company, and they'll let them have their idea. And that's okay. Sometimes it's really hard to let go of that. I mean, you watch that show Silicon Valley and you're like, oh my gosh, life is really like that, at least in Silicon Valley. But, I think there's a lot of value in VC money. There's a lot of value in people with ideas getting VC money. But there's also people who are out there that are just doing a free ride and they're all going to fall on their face. And honestly, they deserve it.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that either.
I heard that. That's an interesting talk. I was not expecting a VC chat between you and I, but it's something that I just look at from a distance. So it's cool to get your perspective, and I respect it for sure and agree. And it's just interesting to get perspective because you actually been in it. I'm just looking at it as an observation perspective. So that's really cool. So let's talk about what's going on today. You have a book. Let's give you a quick plug on this book really quick. What's the title of this book and how can people get it?
The book is called Mindful Social Marketing.
Mindful Social Marketing.
Yep. And what it's really about is taking a mindful approach to how we market digitally and really thinking from the client's perspective. Marketers so often have an idea. Okay, this is what they're going to want, whoever they are. We have all of these ideas about who needs our product, why they need our product. We try to shove it down their throats. That's not a mindful approach to how we really need to be marketing. We need to go back to old school, where the guy that owned the hardware store knew everybody in town and what they needed and what they were going to need next, and knew all about their families and talk to them, which we don't see so much of that. And social media demands it now. We're not willing to put up with people trying to shove products in our face.
Yeah. Interesting. So that's good. I like how you're going back to the old school, to the roots of how people actually really engaged back in those times, because I think people are getting confused about this platform called the internet and all these social media platforms where people engage, and they're looking at it as a transaction or some kind of data point, where actually these people, when you see impressions on your Facebook ads, they're actually human beings. So can you give me an example of you said that people are just blasting their messages out there. Give me an example, if you have, maybe in your experience of doing this, of somebody who's a really bad example of how not to be or practicing your philosophy of mindful marketing. And then maybe another example who's actually killing it with it. If you could maybe go back and forth with that, could give people an idea on how that actually works in the trenches.
Sure. Well, I won't give a specific one to call out necessarily, but I think, people who think of social media marketing as old school advertising, where we're just going to tell you what you want, you're going to buy it. That Mad Men mentality that's like, we just need to tell them that they want this and they'll go get it. Yeah. We're not willing to put up with that anymore. We're just not. Yeah. And we're going to ask questions. We're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of brands who are really good at engaging their audience and engaging people. You want to look at airlines like Southwest Airlines. I was on a flight the other day. I was kind of waiting to push back from the gate. So I took a picture of the stewardess and their logo and said, wow, Southwest looking for a great flight. And when I landed, I had a tweet from them saying, hey, we hope you had a great flight. And, that kind of thing matters. Yeah. And it's not because of me. I'm nobody. But the idea that brand reached out to me and said, hey, I hope you had a great flight. I remember it, and I tell people that mattered.
That did, yeah. That's awesome. See, and that's a really good, I love how you broke that down. So for the people watching the replay or watching live, are you blasting your message out there hoping for some kind of transaction to happen without being human? Or are you trying to be actual human? Like, look at what the airline did to Janet. That's and we're talking about it. It stimulates engagement. Like, we would have never heard about this brand, this airline, if it wasn't for Janet experiencing that tweet. And now she's telling her friends and family about it. So that's a really good point. So what are some real-time stuff that people can actually do today? So you just manage people's social media platforms. Can you give us some can you give like a solopreneur like myself or people watching some tactful things that we can do like today to really implement the philosophy of mindful social marketing?
Sure. Well, the first thing for me is always going to be to listen. setting up some search tools, doing some searches. Let's use Twitter as an example. Looking to see what people are talking about now and getting into conversations with them. You can't market on a platform like Twitter or Facebook by just pushing content out. You need to actually reach out and engage to people and talk to them. So, if you find somebody and they're talking about something that's in the same area as your product, let's say that you sell ski boots and they're talking about weather. We're talking about when there's going to be snow in Tahoe. They're talking about Tahoe and you're saying, well, here are a couple great places to go and ski. You're not selling them ski boots. You're telling them that you're interested in the same things that they are and that you're creating affinity. And once you create that affinity, then you have an opportunity to develop trust. Once you develop trust, you can get people to talk to you and they're going to want to buy your product because they trust you.
Yeah.
And it's pretty basic.
Yeah, it's basic stuff. Why do you think people overcomplicate it online like that? Like, how come they just don't understand that's very basic, fundamental stuff? What's the big deal, like, overcomplicating that? People struggle with this, Janet.
Because they don't want to care. They don't want to think about it. They just want to put their ad up and make you buy it. And to them, that looks easy. It isn't really easy, but they really think that, oh, well, I'll just put it out there, and if 100 people see it and one of them buys it, okay, I'm doing all right, okay. But they don't think about the long-term effects. And, it's really hard because social media is very hard to measure. It's very hard to say, they saw a tweet last year and, they said something nice to me, and now I'm deciding between Southwest and Delta. Okay, I'm going to go with Southwest because they were nice to me. That's all it took. But how do you track that conversion? You can't.
Yeah.
It's lazy because if they can't track it, they can't prove it exists, and management isn't going to buy it, so they don't do it. But in the end, it has a longer term sale.
Wow. That right there, guys. If you guys need to rewind this and listen to that again, that's exactly what it is having that intent to care, and people just don't want to put in the work into the relationship. It's just amazing how people just have that mindset of just a quick transaction. They're so short-sighted, like they don't think the long-term benefits of it. And I think it really comes down to intent, right? Like your intent of this conversation, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Intent, compassion, empathy, gratitude. All of those are things that we can bring into how we market to create a deeper relationship with people and get them to engage and stay engaged because they think that we care about them, because we do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If you care about your customers, quit what you're doing. Go
exactly. Yeah, do something else. Go build websites if you don't want to talk to people. Right, go coding. So I'm going to switch the script here. So let's talk about some trends that's coming up right now. So you manage social media platforms. If you could just name some of the lists that you're really good at, like your go-to dance move. And I want to talk about some really cool trends that people are still trying to wrap their heads around, like Snapchat and Musical.ly and all these new social media platforms. So what are some of the social media platforms that you like really execute on? And we'll go from there, and then we'll talk about the Snapchat stuff.
Twitter is always going to be my favorite platform ever. I like the conversations I have. I love that I can find so much information there. And I'm seeing a resurgence of actual conversations on Twitter, not just people pushing stuff out. It's become more engaging. And I think that's because the interest level has been up. You watch a TV show now and you'll see the hashtag. We didn't used to see that. And so, they're really going, okay, we're going to invest in this platform. So that's my number one always. My number two is probably Facebook, more because I have a lot of connections there now, and I have people that I talk to. I participate in a lot of groups, so I spend a lot of time there. Every platform that comes out, I try it and see if it's going to be useful for our clients. But in the end, I pretty much only stick to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I do a lot of searches on YouTube. Awesome. The new ones, I don't really, Musical.ly is amazing. If that's what you're interested in.
Yeah.
But, those kind of niche sites are really powerful. Snapchat, I could care less. I know it's really popular, but I also see that it's fading. And I think we can blame Facebook and Instagram for that.
Yeah. I got a friend here, Melvin, I met via Twitter speaking. He said focus is key. So, Melvin, please feel free to share what you mean by that. Focus is key. What do you think he means by that?
Oh, I totally know what he means by that. You know, if you get distracted by every little new thing that pops up, you're never going to get any work done. And you're never going to have a decent message. It's fun to go see the new platforms and go, oh, yeah, that's cool. And if they really, really resonate with you and you're willing to make that investment, cool, go for it. But investing too much time in multiple platforms all over the place just spreads your message out and nobody knows who you are. Yeah. Or you broadcast the same darn message across all your platforms and then we're all like, okay, they're boring. Yeah. So, you know, that's your other choice.
Yeah, got it. Awesome. Now, a real side note, I just want to ask you a question. I have people asking me this all the time. I have a fan page, but I have a personal profile on Facebook, but I get more engagement when I do Facebook Live doing on my personal Facebook. Why should I even build my brand on a fan page? Can you talk about the difference, the pros and cons? Because this is something that I'm actually having conversations with like 3 or 4 people within the, my group here. Go ahead.
It depends on what your focus is. If your focus is on your business and you're going to want to have a lot of people who are not friends coming to your business and you don't really want them to know your personal stuff, then you need a Facebook page. Yeah. Some personal brands who are really big, you know, they've started to build a big following and they're doing a lot of engagement. Some of them go to professional pages, but it's more just to manage things and to kind of manage the trolls, which is a lot harder on a personal profile. I have a personal profile and I'm totally fine with that. You know, somebody like Brian Kramer, he's got a professional profile. Because, you know, you get a lot of followers, you start to get a lot of engagement, and you start to want to be able to filter better and maybe separate your private life a little bit more, then, you know, make a page. But I've never seen the need. I do have a business page for Tattoo Digital, but it serves a totally different purpose.
Yeah, got it. What's the purpose of that then for that fan page? Is content generation to people?
Honestly,
to share?
To engage people who are interested in doing business with us. And also to run ads from. We run a lot of influencer campaigns for our clients, and I need to be able to run ads for those. And I need to have a place for people to connect with the brand as part of that. So, you know, I have a branded page, but honestly, I much prefer the personal page for me.
Got it. Awesome. Now, my thoughts on that is, you know, I think, you're right about the privacy because some people want to keep their life private. I get it. I understand. But there's some people that I'm dealing with that actually build their business through the private page, but are struggling to like transfer to the fan page. And I'm not saying that go all fan page, you're going to have a business. My thoughts is the market's the market and they decide where the attention's at. If you're getting more attention to personal, great. Continue to do Facebook Live on that side, but you will be capped in your friends. Because what is it, 5,000 people you can have friends with, I think? My friend just got maxed out.
I think so.
So now you're capped with your reach, but with the fan page, you're not capped. I mean, you got Tony Robbins that has like almost 1 million followers on this fan page. So I'm a fan of both, like do both, but understand that you will be capped from this side on your personal profile and you don't have the metrics. You can't run ads, nothing.
Yeah, and the ads is really key. If you're trying to run a business, at some point you're going to want to run Facebook ads. And if you're running them, you know, to a page that doesn't have any content on it or a page that clearly is only set up for the ads, well, that's kind of telling about you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry for that rabbit hole, but that was really cool. I got a rabbit hole that I want to get into from that rabbit hole, influence marketing. And people are not familiar with that term. I am, because I follow a lot of Gary Vee's work, and I think it's a powerful way to leverage other people's platform to get exposure. Can you talk about your thoughts on that and pros and cons and stuff like that?
Well, there's a couple of different levels of influencer marketing. You know, if you're looking for people who are going to be able to really be evangelists for your brand, a lot of that is unpaid influencer marketing. And really, it's more advocate marketing than it is influencer marketing. And the difference between that is that advocates really care about your product. They're really interested in sharing it because they think your product's great. Like, okay, I'll do a little promo. I got this wonderful mic here. This is my Blue Yeti, and I love it. That's advocate marketing. They didn't pay me to say that, and nothing. But if they sent me 100 of these that look familiar,
I'm playing with one right now.
So, if they send me 100 of those and I send them to all my friends and I say, wow, because I meditate, I really need this, then that's influencer marketing. So paid influencer marketing is really when you get people who have a decent network and people actually listen to them, not just that they're creating blog posts that nobody cares about. Then, those are the influencers worth chasing. That said, I have kind of a pet peeve with Melvin likes the Yeti too.
Yeah, the Blue Yeti. I don't have that. I have a different one. It works fine, but I want a Blue Yeti.
Yeah, and and that kind of thing. Melvin and I just influenced you. I bet you're going to go buy a Blue Yeti.
Nice.
But the thing is there's also a different kind of influencer marketing, and that's where you work with a really big brand and their whole goal is just to get as much noise out there as possible. And so we can create a campaign that reaches out to 100 mommy bloggers and they all talk about your pickles, and we can get them to write the post. Everybody who reads that post knows that's a paid post. And the only benefit to the brand is that they get more mentions of their product on social media platforms. Yeah. Does that matter? Does it make them money? Hard to say, because it's pretty hard to track.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I bet. Yeah. And that's why I kind of made a turn on my brand, because I used to be this digital marketing agency in the background promoting other people's products and or services or brand. But I really wanted to take a turn on like a Gary Vee approach, where basically my face is the brand of my agency. And that's a form of influence marketing, correct? Once I start building my following, now I imagine maybe someone like Blue Yeti will reach out to you or me to get exposure in our platform. That's a good example of it, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's that kind of organic exposure that, you look at somebody like Chris Voss, for example, who, Melvin says, get one. See, we're just going to subliminally make you get one.
Get a Blue Yeti. Melvin, do you have one? Melvin, answer if you can hear me.
Melvin, do you have one?
Yeah, let us know. But go ahead.
So you look at somebody like Chris Voss, who really made his name on trying out new products, doing unboxings. And, you start to see him talking about, oh my gosh, I've got like 9 boxes I got to go through to decide what I'm going to review and what I'm not going to review. Melvin says, yes, he does have it. Yay.
I feel left out now. I better step it up.
You better get one. You've been influenced, dude.
Now I am. In real time, I've been influenced. Pure pressure from Melvin and Janet. Thanks a lot. Let me get on my phone and order it at Amazon. It'll be here in 30 minutes.
Right. Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. It's very interesting to see how these things work. And, the different types of influencers, the different levels of influencers. And the more influence you get, the better the goodies. Somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk, they get some pretty amazing stuff. Ford ran a campaign where they gave away cars. You see that Chevy commercial, and I'm not 100% on this one, but you see that Chevy commercial where it's all the people standing around and they got the cars stacked up in the showroom and they're all like, ooh, that's amazing. Oh, come on, those are bloggers. You got a bunch of people in there and said, maybe we'll give you a car. Come to this thing and, give us your real impressions. Well, they're not going to say, oh, yeah, these seats are stupid. They're not going to do that because they paid to be there.
Yeah.
Compensated
That's awesome.
in some way. Oh, and that's the last bit of this rant, is that if you get any kind of compensation, you get paid, you get free product, and you don't let people know that, then you can be in a lot of trouble with federal government because they're really cracking down on this now. So if you don't say it's an ad, if you don't say I received product, you get spanked pretty bad. And I'm not sure what the fine is, but I think it's about $10,000 to start.
Whoa, never knew that. That's really good to know. Thank you so much for that. Wow, that's amazing. So influence marketing, love it. I love how we talked about it. You're a no-go on Snapchat. You could care less. Got it. So, all right. So again, another plug for your book. You guys, obviously, she knows what she's talking about. You guys got to get her book. They can go to Amazon, correct? Mindful Social Marketing.
They can actually get it in the San Jose Library.
There you go. San Jose Library. There you go. Amazon too as well. Make sure you get her book. Look at Melvin again trying to get me to buy the Blue Yeti on Amazon.
There it is. Click that link.
Serious. Watch it be an affiliate link. Like, damn it, Melvin. I knew you had an agenda. We just talked about this.
Wait a minute. He's an influencer. Don't trust him.
That's awesome. Random, it's probably my last question because I know you're busy. You have one of these, and how long you been using it, and do you like it? Does it help?
You know, I don't think it helps, but I'm a fiddler. I love to fidget. I love toys. I have more toys than anybody. I love gadgets and gizmos.
Yeah.
And my son showed me this, and I was like, cool. So what was the first thing I did when I got one? I searched it on YouTube to see what everybody else was doing with it. Because there's all kinds of like trick guys that, you know, do all these tricks and stuff. Yeah. And that for me shows how the web has changed. It used to be you'd say to the kid, okay, show me what you can do with it. Yeah. And, you know, you would talk to other people and go, you have one of these? Yeah, okay, cool. Show me what you do. No, we just go to YouTube now. Yeah. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
interesting. Yeah. That's a good perspective. It's like, I got this for my son. It's a Batman one. Really cool. I've been getting a lot of comments in Starbucks when I'm working. I actually use it a lot because I'm on my laptop like 10, 12 hours a day as of right now because that's where I'm at in my business. But when I see a question on my screen and I'm really stressed about it, I pick this up and this actually helps me because I'm actually doing something that's meaningless that takes me off the problem. And then I'm like, okay, that was cool. Oh, I'm getting better. Like, okay, let me go back to my question. And then like, it literally helps me like clear my thoughts and try to troubleshoot. So for me, it helps. I like to fiddle too as well. And I used
to meditation.
Yeah, it is. So are you big in meditation? Do you do meditation?
Yeah.
What's your practice? Because I used to do it and I stopped because I got so busy. Do you do that on a daily?
I do about an hour a day, split up. I usually meditate every morning and every night. And then, you know, throughout the day, if I need a break, I'll sit for a minute. I'll take a breath for a minute. I'll go for a walk and do mindful walking. Yeah. Lots of things like that just really help me stay focused or get unfocused for a little while because we need that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now you really quick, I know I'm dragging this out, but you have a podcast or a vlog that you do as well. I want people to check out. How can they find out more about that? Because you have some really cool interviews there.
On iTunes, and it's called Mindful Social Business.
Mindful Social Business. Got it. Awesome. Yeah. So again, folks,
Spreaker, everywhere.
I'm sorry.
It's on iTunes, it's on Spreaker, it's on Stitcher, everywhere.
Got it. Awesome. Check that out, guys. You can listen to it while you're commuting. Listen to it while you're like working out or cleaning the house. What I do. It's a great way to get insights to really leverage your time. And I thank you so much for your time, Janet. So Janet, could they go to janetfouts.com for more information or Tattoo Media? Which one would you suggest?
janetfouts.com is the best URL to find me. And you can also find the podcast stream is on there in audio. The video stream is on the video page, or you can search me on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And reply, you guys, if you go on Twitter, if you tweet her, she'll tweet back. She's very responsive. Thank you so much, Janet, for doing this the second time with me. I appreciate your kindness there.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was fun. Again.
Again. It was great. Thank you so much, Janet. We're going to shut this down. So have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
Cool. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.